Chicago, like most big cities, has its fair share of unsolved crime. And in most of these cases, somebody saw or heard something. Somebody may have seen a suspicious person, a car driving away from the scene, or simply overheard somebody talking about the case. With your help, we can put these criminals behind bars where they belong. Here in Chicago, we have too many unsolved murders. We need your help. In these cases, the police department is only as strong as the citizens that get involved. Oftentimes, all the detectives need is a tip, a start. Somebody to call in and say, I saw something. Any little information that you know can be the impetus to solve the entire case. On tonight's episode, we'll take a look at the case of Thomas Lee. On August 12, 2008, Thomas Lee, a loving son and brother, made a stop at a convenience store in Harvey, Illinois. While sitting in the parking lot, an unknown individual approached and tried to rob him. Here's his story.
Tommy was born in Pennsylvania, Morrisville, Pennsylvania, and he was raised in Chicago, Blue Island. My sisters and I, we had girls first and then boys. My nephew, I think there's a difference of about 5 years in their age. He was so happy when Tommy was born, having another boy in the family.
We were as close as siblings can be that are 10 years apart. So I think around the time of his death is kind of like the point in his life where we were starting to become more friends. So I think I grew up more as a second mom, you know, big sister, as opposed to us just necessarily being close.
I was more or less like a stepfather to Tommy. Came into his life when he was about 12 years old. One of the first things I noticed about him when he was only 11 or 12 was that he seemed that he had a real comedic bent, and he would articulate it too. He was so observant on things that were going on in our lives, in the news, in politics. He wasn't particularly political or a news hound, but he would always see things and make observations that just showed a lot of insight.
A lot of laughs, a lot of laughs. Tommy could give a monologue. He could stand up and have everyone laughing in the room. It came natural for him.
His mother and I and his sister were in the backyard. He came bounding down the alley. He didn't open the gate, the back gate. He just would always jump over it. He came bounding into the backyard, and he just proceeded to have this comedic riff. And he had us in stitches for about a half hour.
His god brother is now a stand-up comic, and he says that there have been many times he was on stage and he thought about Tommy, or he wanted to get off the stage and share with Tommy.
You knew Tommy without his being that affectionate or articulating his like or dislike of you. You knew how you stood with Tommy just by the way he behaved with you. So Tommy and I forged a special bond and relationship. We got along.
Tommy is one of the funniest people I know. That's the thing that stands out the most. Very giving, compassionate.
He gave to the people in the neighborhood. Not that they were needing, it's just that he would give. Mother came and said that Tommy had given her son shoes on a regular basis throughout their childhood.
It was surprising to see him grow up so fast in those 8 or 9 years that I knew him, from 12 to 20.
On August 12, 2008, Thomas Lee and two friends went to the Huddle convenience store in Harvey, Illinois. They went inside to purchase some items, and while there they encountered two individuals in the store. And once they went back to their car after leaving the store, one of the individuals walked up to the car, stuck a gun inside of the car, and told Thomas that this was a robbery. At this time, Thomas tried to wrestle with the person to get the gun out of his hand, and the gun went off during that period, and Thomas was shot in the midsection. The person took off, and as he ran from the car, shot back into the car at least 3 times. Thomas then attempted to drive himself to the hospital from that location. He got approximately 3 or 4 blocks from that location before he couldn't drive anymore, and the passenger in the back seat had to get into the front seat and move Tommy over so he could try to drive him. He drove him to a location, a service station in Midlothian, where the service station attendant called for an ambulance and the police because Thomas was in too much pain at that time. And at that point, he was transported to the hospital from that location.
Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case.
August 12th, 2008, Thomas Lee and 2 friends were at the Huddle convenience store in Harvey, Illinois. While there, they encountered someone inside, and once they got back into the car, one of the individuals walked up to the car, stuck a gun inside of the car, and told Thomas that this was a robbery. Thomas and the person wrestled with the gun, and then Thomas was shot during that scuffle.
It was after 10 o'clock. I was reading this book and enjoying it, so.
We were talking late at night. She was reading a book to me over the phone. And we got off the phone and I plugged my cell phone up in the kitchen and I went into the bathroom to kind of do my nightly routine, wash your face, brush your teeth.
I decided I better go to bed because I'm gonna hate everyone, you know, in a few hours when I have to get up. So it seems like I had just gotten in bed. The phone, I could hear the phone ringing. And I decided, you know, before I get into my good deep sleep, I better get up and answer this so they don't disturb me. And it was Tommy's friend. And he told me that Tommy had been shot.
I came out of the bathroom and I was like, I think I'm just gonna go to bed, but something kind of told me to check your phone. And she had left me a voicemail saying that someone had called her, saying that Tommy had just been shot and she was on her way to Christ Hospital.
The end result was the furthest thing from my mind.
In June of 2012, I was contacted by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office and was asked to assist in the investigation of Thomas Lee. The location, the Huddle, sits approximately about 50 to 100 feet from the roadway, and it's the only business sitting at that location. This incident occurred at approximately 10:30 to 11 o'clock at night, which is dark and not a lot of lighting. So we're not sure if anyone did see anything, but a lot of people have not come forward to say that they have.
Our lives were changed irrevocably, especially his mother, to see a whole change in her life, that she will never be the same. It really destroyed her entire life.
This is the worst nightmare. This is the thing that no one should have to live through. You should never bury your children.
I think about my brother every day. There's not a day that I'm left here to breathe as an only child that I don't think about the impact that it's had and the impact that it will continue to have.
To have known Tommy and to know what a decent kid he was, and living his life, not bothering anybody, for him to be cut down in his prime like that is a crime in and of itself that we need to find a way to put an end to this madness.
It is not until you lose someone that you love to gun violence that you really take a look at what it is that we're doing wrong, what we can do differently to save lives.
If we can solve the case of Tommy Lee, then that opens the door maybe to others, and maybe we can get a handle on doing something about this violence.
Thomas Lee was a very good kid, had no problems, was not a gang member, was working, and his family needs some closure and some help in getting this case to some solvability. At this point in time, the state police are still actively investigating this case, and they are looking at a number of sources and talking to a number of individuals to get information. The suspect in this incident was a male black, approximately 5'2" to 5'6", with dark complected and spoke with an accent. At this time, we would appreciate any help or information that the public can provide to assist in moving this case forward. If anyone does have any information, we would ask that they contact Illinois State Police Special Agent Starlina Wilson. Her number is 847-294-4600.
We cannot live in fear of possible retaliation. You need to live in fear of the person living on the streets doing it again. Tommy fought back, and we should fight back. We cannot just sit down and let the criminals take over.
The cases you just watched remain unsolved, and we need your help. If you have any information on tonight's episode or any other cases, please give our detectives a call. We need our communities to come together so we can take back our streets and make our neighborhoods a safer place.